Every single dream, every single vision, every single spark of possibility that lives inside you, it is there for a reason. It is not an accident. It is not random. It is a calling, a signpost, a message from the part of you that knows exactly what you are capable of becoming. But here's the truth that most never confront. Dreams do not come alive simply because we wish for them. Wishing is easy. Wanting is easy. Talking about what could be someday, somehow, somewhere, that is easy. What is difficult and what separates the ones who make their lives extraordinary from the ones who settle for ordinary is a decision to get absolutely clear on what the goal is and then commit to making it happen. Clarity is the birthplace of achievement. Think of it like a lens. When light scatters, it illuminates nothing with power. But when light is focused into a laser, it can cut through steel. The same energy, yet one is weak and wasted, the other is sharp and unstoppable. The difference is clarity. And this is why so many lie frustrated. They feel the energy, they feel the potential, they even feel the desire. But because their vision is scattered, their power leaks in every direction and achieves nothing lasting. Ask yourself this. How many times have you said, I just want to be successful, or I want to be happy, or I want more out of life? These are not goals. These are vague wishes, floating clouds with no form, no structure, no direction. The mind cannot chase fog, it needs a target. It needs something clear, precise, undeniable. Without that, even the strongest effort will dissolve into distraction and disappointment. The reason clarity matters so much is because the world is full of noise. Every day you are pulled in 1,000 different directions, messages, opinions, expectations, distractions. If your goals are unclear, the noise wins. You drift instead of drive, you wander instead of build. And soon you wake up wondering why months have passed, years have passed, and nothing has truly changed. That is the hidden cost of vague goals. Wasted time, wasted energy, wasted potential. But here's the good news. The moment you decide to get clear, everything shifts. A precise goal slices through the noise. It acts like a compass pointing north. No matter how lost you feel, you know where to walk. It acts like fuel for your energy. Suddenly the late nights, the early mornings, the sacrifices all make sense because you know what you are aiming for. Clarity transforms confusion into confidence. It transforms hesitation into action. It transforms the impossible into inevitable. So the question becomes, do you want to keep drifting, or are you ready to start directing? Do you want to let another month, another year, slip by while you tell yourself a someday? Or are you ready to stand up and declare that a someday is today? Every great achievement in history, every breakthrough, every revolution, every masterpiece began not with luck, not with chance, but with clarity, a decision, a goal, a focus so sharp that nothing could blur it. This is your starting line. This is the moment to decide whether your dreams stay dreams or whether they become reality. Get clear on your goals and watch how everything in your life begins to align with the power of that clarity. It's not just an idea, it is power. It is the force that separates wishful thinking from purposeful living. When the mind knows exactly what it is chasing, everything else begins to fall into alignment. Energy sharpens, focus deepens, decisions become simpler, obstacles shrink in the presence of direction. Without clarity, you stumble. With clarity, you strive. Think of clarity as the blueprint of achievement. A builder would never begin construction without a plan. Imagine arriving at a work site with bricks, cement, and tool, but no design. What would happen? Chaos, effort wasted, time lost, resources misused. Yet this is exactly how most people approach their lives. They gather ambition, they work hard, they stay busy, but they never create the blueprint. They never get crystal clear on what they are actually building. The result? Motion without progress and fulfillment. Clarity changes that instantly. A clear goal transforms effort into effectiveness. It gives meaning to the hours, direction to the choices, and urgency to the actions. The human mind craves certainty. And when you provide it with a precise target, the subconscious begins working day and night to find ways to achieve it. Opportunities that once went unnoticed suddenly stand out. Ideas connect. The path forward starts to reveal itself, not because the world has changed, but because your mind has changed. Clarity also builds confidence. Uncertainty breeds hesitation. When you are unclear, doubt grows louder, fear gains strength, and procrastination becomes the default response. But when you know exactly what you want and you can see it, describe it, and define it, your actions carry conviction. Confidence is not the absence of fear. It is the presence of clarity. Fear loses its grip when the goal is vivid enough to outweigh it. The power of clarity also lies in its ability to simplify. Life is full of distractions, temptation, and endless options. Without clarity, you chase everything and catch nothing. But with clarity, decisions become black and white. Does this move me closer to my goal or does it pull me away? That question alone cuts through the noise. Clarity is the filter that protects you from wasting energy on what doesn't matter. And clarity does not only change how you act, it changes how others respond to you. When you articulate your goals with precision, you inspire trust, attract support, and draw opportunities. People rally behind someone who knows exactly where they're going. Vagueness inspires doubt, clarity inspires respect. The clearer your vision, the easier it becomes for others to believe in it and contribute to it. But perhaps the greatest power of clarity is momentum. Nothing feels more empowering than seeing progress toward a specific goal. Each step forward fuels the next. Small victories build into bigger victories. Momentum becomes unstoppable. All of this begins with one simple choice: to define exactly what you want. Clarity is not a luxury, it is a necessity. It is the foundation on which every dream must stand. Without it, ambition collapses under its own weight. With it, the impossible becomes possible. Clarity is the starting point, the fuel, and the force. Get clear, and you unlock power most people never experience. There is a hidden price for living without clarity. It's a cost most people pay without realizing it. They pay with their time, their energy, their potential, and their happiness. They drift through days, busy but unfulfilled, active but unaccomplished, alive but not truly living. This is the silent tragedy of unclear goal. When goals are vague, life becomes a cycle of motion without progress. You wake up, you work hard, you push through tasks, yet at the end of the week, you ask yourself, but what did I actually achieve? Without a clear destination, every effort feels scattered. You're running but not toward anything. You're climbing but there's no mountain. You're pouring energy into a bucket full of holes, and by the end of it, you're exhausted but empty-handed. Unclear goals also breed frustration. When the mind doesn't know what it's aiming for, it questions every move. Should I do this? Should I try that? Should I say yes? Should I say no? Indecision takes over, and indecision is costly. Opportunities slip away while you hesitate. Doubts multiply while you delay. And worst of all, you start to lose trust in yourself. Each day you postpone clarity is another day your confidence erodes. The cost is not only internal, it shows up external. Without clarity, relationships suffer because people can't see your direction. Your work suffers because effort is spread too thin. Your finances suffer because you have no focused strategy. And your dreams suffer because they remain blurry outlines, never painted in detail. Life does not reward vague wishes. It rewards clear intent backed by decisive action. But perhaps the greatest cost of unclear goals is time. Time is the one resource you never get back. You can lose money and earn it again. You can lose strength and rebuild it. But once a year of your life is gone, it never returns. Without clarity, years vanish into routines, into distractions, into waiting for the right moment that never comes. And then, one day the realization hits, you were not truly living with purpose, only existing in repetition. That regret is the most painful cost of all. There is also an emotional toll. Unclear goals create anxiety because the mind craves direction. A plane without a flight path circles endlessly until the fuel runs out. The same is true for human potential. Without clarity, you feel restless, unsatisfied, and unsettled, no matter how much effort you give. That restless energy drains joy from the present, because part of you always knows you're not moving with intention. The harsh truth is this: life will not wait for you to get clear. Opportunities will pass, chances will fade, and if you refuse to decide what you want, someone else will decide for you. Society will hand you its expectations. Employers will hand you their agendas. Other people's goals will become your default path. And when that happens, you're no longer living your life, you're living someone else's. Unclear goals cost too much. They cost direction, They cost progress, they cost time, and they cost freedom. But the good news is the moment you choose clarity, you stop paying that price. You take back control. You reclaim your energy. You put yourself back in the driver's seat of your destiny. The cost of unclear goals is high, but the reward of clarity is priceless. The greatest tragedy is not setting the wrong goals. The greatest tragedy is never defining what you truly want in the first place. Too many people chase what looks good, what sounds impressive, or what others expect of them, only to reach the finish line and realize it was never their finish line at all. Success without fulfillment is failure in disguise. That's why the first step after embracing clarity is to define, with courage and honesty, exactly what you want. This is not about what society tells you to want. It's not about what your family, friends, or peers think is right for you. This is about listening to that inner voice that whispers when the world is quiet. The voice that speaks not in logic, not in fear, but in desire. That voice already knows what lights you up, what energizes you, what makes you feel alive. The question is, are you willing to listen to it? Defining what you really want requires stripping away the noise. It requires asking powerful questions. What impact do I want to make? What lifestyle do I dream of living? What would I pursue if I knew I could not fail? These questions are not just reflections, they are keys. They unlock the clarity buried beneath layers of doubt, comparison, and expectation. And once the answers begin to surface, they must be captured. A goal that only lives in the mind is fragile. It fades with time. Write it down. Describe it vividly. Don't just say, I want success. Say, I want to build a business that impacts thousands, earns me financial freedom, and allows me to travel the world. Don't just say, I want health. Say, I want to feel strong, energetic, and confident, capable of running 5 miles with ease and fueling my body with nourishing foods. The clearer the description, the more power it holds. Defining what you want also demands specificity. The brain does not chase a better, it chases exact. If your goal is to earn more money, how much? If your goal is to write a book, by when? If your goal is to grow in your career, to what position? The more specific the target, the sharper the arrow of your effort become. Specific goals create accountability, and accountability fuels action. But defining what you want also takes courage. It means admitting your deepest desires, even if they scare you. It means claiming a vision that others may not understand. It means risking judgment, rejection, or even failure. Yet this is the price of authenticity. If you are not pursuing what you truly want, then whose life are you living? Remember this. Your goals are the blueprint of your future. Every choice you make, every action you take is building something. But without defining what you really want, you risk building a future that doesn't belong to you. That is why definition is power. It ensures your ladder is leaning against the right wall before you climb. So take the time. Sit in silence. Ask yourself the questions that matter. Write your answers without fear. Refine them until they are crystal clear. And then look at them with pride. Because those words are not just wishes, they are the map to the life you are meant to create. Define what you want because no one else can define it for you. Goals are powerful, but goals without purpose are fragile. You can set targets, write them down, even take the first few steps toward them. But if they are not anchored to something deeper, they will crumble under pressure. Purpose is the anchor, purpose is the fire. It is the difference between giving up when things get hard and pushing through when everything in you wants to stop. Purpose answers the question why. Why does this matter? Why am I willing to sacrifice for this? Why should I keep going when no one is watching, when no applause is coming, when the results seem far away? Without a strong why, motivation fades quickly. But with a strong why, motivation is replaced by something stronger, determination. Think of purpose as the fuel behind every great achievement in history. People do not climb mountains simply because the rocks are there. They climb because the climb represents something. People do not build businesses just to make money. They build because they want to create freedom, impact, or legacy. Purpose transforms goals from tasks into missions. A task can be abandoned, but a mission becomes part of who you are. Purpose also provides resilience. Obstacles are guaranteed. Delays, failures, rejections, they will come. And when they do, purpose decides whether you quit or continue. If your goal is shallow, the first obstacle will knock you down. But if your goal is rooted in purpose, obstacles become tests, not ending. You push through not because it's easy, but because stopping would mean betraying something that matters deeply to you. Purpose also sharpens clarity. When you understand why you want something, it becomes easier to decide what to pursue and how to pursue it. You no longer chase every shiny distraction because you know whether it aligns with your deeper mission. This is why purpose is a compass. It keeps you moving in the right direction, even when the path is uncertain. And purpose is not only about personal achievement, it's about contribution. Human beings are wired for meaning. The deepest satisfaction rarely comes from what you get. It comes from what you give. A goal connected to service, impact, or contribution becomes bigger than yourself. That kind of goal does not just drive action, it inspires greatness. But here's the challenge. Discovering purpose takes honesty. It means asking, what do I value most? What kind of person do I want to become? What impact do I want my life to have? These are not questions answered in a single moment. They are questions that shape a lifetime. And yet, even beginning to ask them brings strength, direction, and focus that shallow goals can never provide. Purpose is what wakes you up when the alarm rings earlier than you like. Purpose is what keeps you moving when fatigue whispers arrest. Purpose is what turns sacrifice into investment and what transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary persistence. Without it, you may survive. With it, you will thrive. So don't just set goals, attach them to something meaningful. Make them more than numbers, more than milestones, more than achievements to check off a list. Tie them to your deepest values, your highest vision, your most authentic self. Because when you know your purpose, nothing can stop you. That big goals can feel like mountains, towering, intimidating, impossible to climb. They inspire you, but they also overwhelm you. And this is where so many people give up. They look at the peak, they see how far away it is, and they convince themselves it cannot be done. But here is the truth. No mountain is climbed in one step. Every great achievement is not the product of one massive leap. It is the result of many small, consistent steps. The secret is to break it down. When you take a massive goal and divide it into smaller, manageable pieces, you remove the weight of impossibility. Suddenly, the overwhelming becomes achievable. Instead of saying, I have to build an entire business, you say, today I will outline my first product. Instead of saying, I must lose 50 pounds, you say, this week I will commit to 3 workouts and cleaner meals. Instead of saying, I need to write a book, you say, today I will write 1 page. These small steps may seem insignificant, but compounded over time, they create unstoppable momentum. Breaking goals down does more than simplify them. It builds confidence. Every completed step is a victory, a reminder that progress is happening, and progress fuels motivation. The human mind thrives on a sense of accomplishment. When you check off the first step, you feel stronger. When you complete the second, you feel unstoppable. Small wins build belief, and belief builds results. Breaking goals down also provides direction. Imagine trying to drive across the country without a map. The destination may be clear, but without milestone, without checkpoints, you'll get lost. Small steps are those checkpoints. They tell you whether you are on track, whether you need to adjust, and how far you've come. They create a roadmap, making sure your energy is always moving toward your vision instead of wandering in circles. This approach also helps fight procrastination. A huge goal feels heavy, and the brain resists heavy tasks. But a small step feels light. Writing 1 page doesn't feel impossible. Making 1 phone call doesn't feel overwhelming. Taking 1 jog doesn't feel unbearable. Once you begin, momentum carries you further than you imagine. Breaking it down removes excuses because the next step is always doable. Another truth about breaking goals down is that it makes setbacks less threatening. When your entire vision depends on 1 massive push, failure feels catastrophic. But when your vision is built on many small steps, a misstep doesn't end the journey. It's just 1 stone along the path. You can recover, adjust, and keep going without losing faith. This is how progress is built. Not in giant leaps, but in deliberate, consistent steps forward. Every page becomes a chapter. Every workout becomes a transformation. Every decision becomes a destiny. Success is not one massive action. It is the accumulation of thousands of small intentional actions stacked over time. So don't be intimidated by the size of your dream. Break it down. Define the first step, then take it. Define the next step, then take it. Keep moving, keep building, keep stacking progress until one day you look up and realize you've reached the peak you once thought was impossible. That is the power of breaking it down. Motivation is exciting.